Right, welcome back to Sidebar. Isaac Maura, Nelson Courage, Richard Onyonka, and of course Professor Herman Manyora join me tonight on our first show of the year. And we're discussing the sacking of Mwangi Kiunjuri from the cabinet. By the way, he becomes the second cabinet secretary to be removed from the cabinet by the president after Achesa. So we're discussing that, and we'd like to discuss on the BBI and the extended mandate of the task force also, but I'd like to conclude on this, and I think Onyonka, you were speaking on this, but even as we conclude on Kiunjuri's sacking, yes. What happens to him? What will he do? Because he promised the president a really hard time. He said, I'll be cool if you're cool, but I have known a lot of things. If you frustrate me, I'll be forced to talk. In fact, he promised that the year is still long, it's just January. He can have something to say every single day at the end of the year.
I will tell you.
I wish to advise him after
yes.
Yes.
I would have wished you advise him, then I just agree or disagree. For me, I would like to make a very humble request to my brother Kiunjuri. Politics is a very interesting game. It's most of the time is the art of the possible, and I am completely immoral about politics. The reality is, Kiunjuri can be talking and saying, I'm set and I'm ready to go and I'm going to hit it back at Uhuru and all that. And you may be shocked that when we move towards 2022, Kiunjuri might actually be working with Uhuru and saying, Chuma Rais, vile tulikuwa tunazungumza, tafadhali, watu wa Laikipia wanasema ni wewe na utawendi utatuambia mahali tunaenda. Number two, I think when I listened to what he said, if I was him, I would have finished his statement on the first paragraph. I thank the president for having given me an opportunity.
But he was angry. He was angry.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It looks like in Kenya today, everybody's angry. And this is the problem with the Mount Kenya political leaders.
But he's just been sacked from the cabinet.
No. When you are a substantive leader and your boss fires you, the dignity of that office requires that you actually thank the one who gave you that job, which he did. Yes. You should have stopped there. Now, everything else was a threat.
To the president.
Yes, and somehow all the people, and by the way, I'm not Uhuru's lucky boy, or I'm not a guy who's saying how Uhuru is the greatest president. I've said so many things that Uhuru has messed in this country. But, Mwaura, Uhuru is the president of Kenya. And you people in Central think he's an MCA. And all of you talk like Uhuru is just some ramshackle boy who hangs out in State House and sits there and comes out and makes a statement which doesn't. Uhuru has professional thinkers, people who advise him. Uhuru has a legacy to hold, and you people are refusing to give him that legacy. That is how we see it.
Why are you directing this to Isaac?
No, you're my brother, you know. I'm actually, I can point to anyone. I'm talking about... Yes, I'm talking about the Central Kenya political class. Has decided they want to go without Uhuru. And as far as they are concerned, they'd rather put him in the sewage and live in there. And I'm telling them, transitional politics has incredible opportunities for other people.
Okay.
But it can also give you an opportunity if you play your cards right.
So that's what you would advise?
Yes. All I would advise Kiunjuri is to take a break. Okay. For example, go on holiday for a month or two.
Think straight.
Rethink it.
All right, I'm coming to you before you go. This is my senior.
Yes.
I said initially that Kiunjuri was actually set to fail from the onset. And if you want to know that,
and he swallowed the bait. That's what you're saying.
Cooperatives.
Kiunjuri swallowed the bait.
Yes. Cooperatives were moved from him. Marketing was with Munya. Value addition was with Munya. Today, the president has taken back all those with Munya to the Ministry of Agriculture. So honestly, how did you expect Kiunjuri
when he came in for devolution, right?
Yes.
And state devolution was placed and given some functions to use it.
Yes. So how did you expect Kiunjuri to perform with a cannibalized ministry?
Literally, the lesser the responsibility, the higher the chances of
the lesser the finance. You must look at the budget of what Kiunjuri was operating on.
My brother, running a ministry is about the money.
All these things is just about politics. If someone wants to aid you to perform in a ministry, they will. There was no goodwill. He was he's a politician, okay? They answered him, they stood him down.
But from what about the vision for politicians?
It's not about politicians. Let me tell you, you never know how this is going to turn out. It could be actually his political Waterloo.
Okay, let me listen to Prof. now.
I said I'll advise Mike Kiunjuri, he's a friend of mine. My advice to him is don't dare the president. If he says bring it on, you think you have to talk about the president. For every 1 kilo of stuff you bring against the president, you can bring a ton to bear on you.
Okay.
This is the head of state. The instrument at his disposal. Anything you have against him, you can clean it up. Look at Trump. Just look at Trump. And that is America. And look at how much the White House, the infrastructure president, is helping Trump to clear things that are really obviously bad and wrong. But they can clean them and clean them. But for you, you don't have the same. So if the president wants to depend on you, let's just agree that you'll be crushed. So my advice to him is, you are a very promising politician. You have a great future.
Bid your time.
And if you want to understand, what I'm saying is, you have to understand today's statement from the president. The president was playing politics directed at Mount Kenya. Use the stick and the carrot. It's sending a message to Mount Kenya leaders. If you continue playing with me, then you don't know who I am. I can hit you and I can crush you. And I want to say this. I said it on Monday on the AM Live. They are going to be casualties. It's becoming ugly and they are going to be casualties. Take that to the bank. They will be casualties. Secondly, he's robbing, he's cutting sail from their, wind from their sail. The things they have been talking about milk, about coffee, about tea, you see, he's dealing with them. He has made policy and administrative moves, really including money and so on and so forth. He has put Munya there, that like the coach says, he has enlarged and empowered that ministry, and things are going to happen on the ground. Soon these MPs will have nothing to say except say, we are good. And I'm telling you, Guru's strategy is first to deal with the leaders. Once he has cleared them, and he began at Sagana by addressing himself to the ground. Right now, you are right, he's still hostile, but give it 6 months. My advice to this young politicians, some of them are fairly young, is look at Guru carefully and well and properly.
You're actually scaring.
I'm not scaring them. No, I'm just
that sounds like a warning,
Not a warning.
No, it's
I'm an old man. I'm
not founded in good faith.
This is Africa and this is Kenya.
So we are not building bridges.
I'm saying bridges will be jewels and they will be destroyed. This is politics. To the extent that Guru has moved into central Kenya, you expect to find things moving.
Okay.
On the ground.
All right. Unless any one of you has something to add on money.
I think let me say this. When I moved out of ODM, people asked me, what do you have up your sleeves to discuss about the people? And I became a very popular phenomenon in Kikuyu land. Same case to Onyangolo, and he was Secretary General of TNA, and he took the other side. So most of those things are usually preposterous. Because if you have skeletons, you can't just disclose. Because you saw how the judiciary was put into submission about them being corrupt. Through social media and what have you, until the Baraka came out, speaking more than once. Now, what I'm going to say is this: Moni Kiunjuri has been given the fireball now to go and do what he has always wanted to do. That is to contest maybe with Uhuru Kenyatta for the leadership of Mount Kenya. Let's see how far he can go. Let's see how far he can sustain himself, because it's going to be rough. In fact, my thinking is that the Tanga side and the sympathizers in Central Kenya, Rift Valley and what have you, these people who we can call still in political diapers, if I can say so, must pay their price. You remember what I said earlier on about the combination of the experience of the oppositionism and government? Must pay their price and must actually earn it, because power is never given. And it is going to be very, very tough, because you are seeing a status quo and a threat to diminish that. and to say that you are done and you are dusted. Part of the reason why, Richard Onyonka, I want to address you particularly, people in Central Kenya, people in Central Kenya were faithful. They are used to the fact that now William Ruto was supposed to take over. So they were preparing themselves psychologically. Politics is a matter of ambition. People now hang around William Ruto because he was the next big thing, you know. So they were moving away. And they were saying, now, Uhuru, we are kind of done with you, and now we are moving. So it's a shocker. Because now Uhuru is coming back and saying, Siendi mahali popote, you know. So it's going
I don't think so nice.
No, I can assure you. I can assure you, kindly listen to me. I can assure you that is the point. Believe you me today. Believe you me today. The people who used to call Wagi Kiunjuri are going to reduce by dint of the fact that he's no longer in cabinet. Chester was complaining that he no longer receives calls. So people try to imagine. So the question now that the big elephant in the room, and I think, Richard, that's where you're coming, is that if in the event whoever pronounced that Ruto is yangu kumi na yake kumi comes back and says, no, I have worked with this gentleman and I no longer think he is the best person for your interest, what would be the result? That is the question out there.
I have a completely different analysis of that matter. My brother, let me tell you where we are. Central is shocked that the man who has been demonized for the last 60 years, his father plus him, is now the one who is actually literally sleeping with the president's son, who is Uhuru. Central is shocked that Uhuru is saying, and this is what Anne Waiguru spoke when we were in PC. She said, we can't have two communities governing Kenya. It is not tenable. It is not acceptable. So start preparing yourself that we're going to open up.
This country is a democracy.
Hold on. Yes, if it is a democracy, then don't complain. In other words, what I'm looking at, my brother, is this. Yes, William Ruto has an entitlement only to Central. You people are the ones who promised him.
No, he even said he's not entitled.
No, but that is the argument he's making.
Yes, he said that.
Yes, that is the argument Maura is making. He's saying people
himself has said no one owes him anything.
Hold on, let me finish, then you come. Yes. What I'm saying is very simple. For so many years in this country, we love playing fake politics. The reality is, for the first time, Uhuru is actually playing real politics. He's saying, my father was a president. We handed it off to Moi from the Kalenjin community, handed it over to Kibaki from the Kikuyu community, took it back to me, who's from the Kikuyu community. Now, we are now going back to the same story of taking it back to the Kalenjin community. You have 42 communities in this country. What Uhuru is saying is this: can you guys slow down? We try and look for a framework, and maybe this TBI thing might be the one which may help us. Because the reality is, Maura, as Central guys are so upset and happy that William Ruto might be double crossed by the Kikuyu community. For us, we don't care. But even for us, we also want to be president of Kenya. That was an agreement between two communities. Yes. That's where we are. If you understand that, now we can move forward.
No, I think I beg to differ, and allow me to differ on this one, because the Jubilee Party, as it were then, not the dead ball that it is now, because it's actually for all party purposes dead, because it was predicated. Tuko Pamoja was more about the handshake between Uhuru and Ruto.
Yes.
So while the president was speaking, he was speaking as the president of the Jubilee Party, party leader, and also the president of Kenya.
No.
Because Jubilee... Just listen. Jubilee was the party in power. So it was supposed to be in power at least for 20 years. You get the point?
Why? Why?
Because...
That would be a democracy.
No. Political power is aspirational. I mean, parties
then we don't need term limits.
Parties are... No. I mean, if Uhuru has done 10 years, and Ruto comes and does 10 years, I mean, this is not one and the same person. It's the same person.
No.
And you know, Richard, what we are supposed to do is to build... Just listen. Is to build political parties that build individuals who are able to implement the ideas of the party within government.
And the political parties can rule forever.
Kindly.
Even if
kindly. Because political parties are supposed to actually acquire power through legal means. So what is my point here? The issue is that political parties are predicated on personal chemistry. It's about communities agreeing. It's about interest. That that kind of understanding seems somehow to have collapsed between the two. I cannot confirm fully dead, but somehow it appears for all purposes that between Uhuru and Ruto, things are no longer the way they used to wear the same shirt, the same tie and make announcements. Like even these press conferences would have been done by the two of them. So that has changed. Now, you are right on one thing, Richard, that for a very long time, Raila Odinga has been demonized. I tried telling him for 10 years.
You couldn't manage.
I became a casualty.
You couldn't
now that is now the problem, because the moment
and yet the guy is actually
the moment people saw Uhuru cutting cake and dancing, in Mombasa with Raila Odinga, that shock has, because they knew this is Kimondo. And in fact, let me tell you, when we were moving around the lesson, and you can confirm it, we were trying to speak these politics that Ken Mijungu wants us to speak about and we love about our country, Professor. But then people are telling us, useme tu Raila, Bondo, Uhuru, State House. Na kama Raila kaingia, mutafaa vinyasa. Those kind of nonsense, eh? So that is now the thinking of the masses. And so they cannot therefore fathom how they came together, yes. That even recently, your own headline in Daily Nation was having the inner circles of Uhuru Kenyatta. And who are there? We had Joseph Kenyua, we had
August of last year.
Yeah. Yes. We had Kibicho, and then who's the other person? Raila Odinga.
The inner circle.
The inner circle.
Okay.
What I want to say, Ken, is that I hear a lot of discussion here around the deputy president, and people seem to be, clapping. I feel I have this feeling that Ojonka is saying where he is, he should be fixed and all this. But let me tell you, this is the danger.
No.
We should see beyond the office of the deputy president and William Ruto. Tomorrow, Onyonka might be the president of this country. Do you really want to be disrespected by junior civil servants when you are in that position? There has to be a way. And you cannot tell us, come out and say, now we want to build bridges, yet at the same time, you're displeasing people in government who supposedly are associated with the deputy president. It's very unfortunate. Okay. So and this generation must stand up and say that this constitution has the wisdom of having a president and a deputy president elected because they knew we will have a dysfunctional government in an event that there is a problem like what we have at the moment, where the president cannot even contain his own deputy. We have a problem. And then you want to tell me today you want to have a prime minister and a deputy prime minister, we will have a crisis.
The difference will be if we do that, if we introduce the prime minister and the deputy president, they'll be appointed, the prime minister will be appointed by the president. Would it be better for you if the president was in a position to dismiss the deputy president, especially in a working relationship that is so sour like this?
So be it, because like I said, right now the president doesn't seem to manage his deputy. We have a problem. No one wants to listen. He's being insubordinated by very junior people. And this is a relationship where you cannot send him to go.
Yes.
So why would
it be better?
Let's go for parliamentary. But the problem is we will accept. So we have a problem. And that is now where we have a problem in BBI.
For 2 seconds, I want to tell
Professor is very quiet.
I want to tell my brother Nelson, I can tell you I am not wishing William Ruto any ill will.
Excellent.
I've worked with him.
No, I didn't say you as a person.
I highly respect the guy. I've said he's one of the brightest people I've ever worked with. He has his own shortfalls like all of us politicians. But what I'm saying, you remember this year, Professor Manyora, you remember, Donald Trump wanted to fire Pence. Mike Pence, the vice president. In fact, they were saying in the coming election, for Trump to continue, he may have to consider getting another candidate. Why? Because Pence wasn't coming out clearly and defending Trump because, Pence is into these religious things and there were moral issues.
That's actually how he got the ticket.
That's how he got the ticket because they were dealing with the Christian Southerners who vote for the Republicans. So Trump was thinking of firing Pence. That's in America. If in Africa you are a president like Uhuru has been, I don't think Uhuru had a problem with William Ruto when he went to have the handshake with Raila. In fact, one of the issues that we raised during our early days when I was engaging myself with the DP was take over this thing, be part of it. Even if we go parliamentary or we do whatever, it will be beneficial to Kenyans. Kenyans will give you the credit And therefore, when we reach a time when we are going to go for the elections, we can explain why you agreed for this council.
Okay.
And what has happened? Ever since the discussions of BBI started, William Ruto has been doing the opposite, when Uhuru is at the opposite. That's what the problem is.
I need to take a break, Prof. Briefly. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to help them understand why things are happening to Ruto and around Ruto, the DP. It is simply this, that when the handshake was put in place and the whole machinery was arraigned against him, the fellows behind the handshake underestimated Ruto's abilities. So he has frustrated them in terms of his unmanageability. So, and for that reason I have said, we expect to see this thing getting more ugly. Okay. Uglier by the day. Because William Ruto is not a man you put in your hand and squeeze. They thought they would do it. They realized this is a very difficult man. It's too tough for them. And therefore you will continue seeing this until we get to a point, my friend, I think you talked to him, until we get to a point, and in my view we are long past that point, where he will have to choose, clearly, whether to join them, like you say, or to quit government.
Yes. And being the opposition.
I can tell you will not fight this government. Authoritatively,
It's part and parcel of the government. All right. A day is a long time in Kenyan politics. Gentlemen, time for our last break, I hope. When we come back, I'd like to go straight to issues of BBI, because in Kisii there was quite some talk, and even just leaving what was said in Kisii, my interest is what was said out of the meetings that happened in Kisii. So that's what I'd like to tackle next. Let's take a break on Sidebar. We'll be back.